Hi everybody, we're now live. Thank you so much for joining me. I decided to come on 2 minutes earlier than I posted because I wanted to give everybody time who wanted to join a minute to come in and maybe answer a few questions before I get started. So thanks so much for joining me, and we're gonna go ahead and wait a few minutes for everybody to come on in. If you're here, feel free to say hello and chime in with any questions before we get started. Hi Carolyn, how are you? Good to see you here. I'm glad you could make it. Hi Constance. Hi Shannon. Thanks for joining me. Hi Jeanette. It's always good to see people join. Sometimes I miss people when they come in. It's nice to have a lot of people here, but it's also nice sometimes when we don't get so many. Hi Tashina. Hi Kathy. Just to get, a nice group going is always fun. Hi Chris. Okay, so tonight I was restocking my confetti soap, and hi everybody, hi. And I thought I would go ahead and go live just because this is a kind of a quicker soap to make, and I didn't want to put together a whole video and do any editing. Hi Cheryl. So I just thought I would show you what that looks like live because it's pretty short to make. Thanks Shannon. I'm glad you're enjoying the videos. Thank you so much. So I thought I would take you through that process, and also if you are a member of my Patreon page, I will be posting my recipe for confetti soap on my Patreon page. But the reason why I like this soap, just to kind of give you some background, is I really like things from, hey Sean, I really like things that are simple to make but have a big impact, and that's how I feel about confetti soap. So it is easy to make, and the design looks great, and it has a big impact. Hi Margarita. It's a super simple soap, but people really like it. I sell out of it when I make it. So all that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Let me go ahead and get my gloves on. Hi Liliana. Okay, so got my gloves on, and I'm gonna get my goggles on, and then we'll go ahead and get started. So what I did, just to kind of take you through my process, is it takes a while to get confetti soap to be able to make it. Hi Jacinda. Because you have to accumulate enough soap scraps to make enough confetti. Let me put that down a little bit so you can see. So I never really do trim my soap. I know a lot of people will bevel and trim their soap and save the scraps. I don't really do that. What I do is I kind of go through like quality control every few months. And of course, when you transport your soaps or you move them around a lot, or people have looked at them a lot. Hi Marie. Sometimes there's just some bars that become unsellable. They get damaged, or some have been hanging around for a long time, so you can no longer sell them because they kind of lose their fragrance or the color goes dull. So I just kind of quality control every now and again, and I pull soaps that I feel like I can't sell anymore, and I grate them down just using a cheese grater. Hi Richard. Wow, the Philippines, thanks so much for joining. So this usually, what I do is I grate down about 4 bars of soap at a time, and I just use a hand cheese grater to do that. So I just use the bigger side of the cheese grater, and I get these curls. And I try to put colors together that I think are gonna look nice against confetti. So I do a white background, and I try to put colors together that I think look like confetti. And this is gonna sound really strange, but confetti, even though it's kind of messy, thank you, Carolyn. Even though it's kind of messy, there's something about it when it gets against a white background that looks clean to me. So I really just like the way that confetti looks. It makes me feel happy. So all that being said, confetti soap is just a fun one to have around and a good one to have in your soap lineup. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. I'm gonna let you know which oils I'm using here. And again, I'll be posting the exact measurements on my Patreon page. And thank you so much if any of my patrons are watching right now. Carolyn, I just saw you chime in, so I know you're here. Thank you so much to all my patrons that have joined my Patreon page and are pledging. It means so much to me, and it's been fun. It's been a nice, lively, active group. So if you're interested, it's a small pledge, and there's a ton of information on there. So yeah, go on over there if you get a chance. So anyway, the oils that I'm using tonight for my confetti soap are apricot kernel oil, canola oil, castor oil, olive oil, coconut oil, and palm oil. I'm not using any super fat, and I am discounting my water by 15%. So let's go ahead and get started. Thank you. I think I'm saying your name right. Aisha or Aisha from South Florida. Thank you so much. Okay, so we are doing, here's my oils that I just listed off to you. I will try to answer questions the best that I can while I'm taking you through this process. My oils are at room temperature. I prepped everything last night. You guys have to know, I get really nervous every time I'm about to go live. I'm kind of an introverted person, even though it might not seem like it. I really am kind of an introverted person. So I get super nervous right before I go live every time, and then I get really happy that I did it. I always feel super excited that I went ahead and did it when it's all said and done. So anyway, here's my oils all melted down, and here's my lye and water solution. And you guys are gonna ask me where I got these containers. I get that question all the time. I got these clear containers at a store that's local to me. It's called Smart and Final, and it's a food supply store. When you go on their website, they do not carry these. It's kind of a local chain, I think, and they don't carry these on their website. I've looked to try to link it into the description box for you guys. Hi, Chantel. So I've been looking to see if they carry these on their website just to give you guys a link, but they don't. So anyway, if you have a food supply store in your area that carries like restaurant quality food supply containers, that would be the place to look. So the store that's next to me has all kinds of containers that are made for food prep for like restaurants. And the bottom of the containers should have a recycle number 5 on the bottom. That's how you know they are appropriate for soap making. Okay, gonna go ahead and pour my lye and water solution in. Feel free to ask any questions. I will answer the best that I can while we're working. Okay, I'm just gonna hand mix it. Chantel, I'm not familiar with that store. But yeah, okay, so I am just mixing on low on my stick blender. Actually, that's high. I'm gonna put that back on low. There we go. Oh, Venu, that sounds awesome, your first batch of soap. How did it turn out? My lye water is room temperature, super fat. Carolyn, super fat is when you do it's basically a lye discount, or after your soap has reached trace, you will put a certain percentage of oils back into the soap. So let's say I wanted to do a 5% super fat, shea butter. Let's just say I was gonna use shea butter as my super fat. I would have a 5% shea butter melted down, waiting over here off to the side, and then once my soap right here reached trace, I would go ahead and stir in that shea butter, and that creates what's called a lye discount or super fat, and it makes the soap more like a lotion consistency. I wouldn't say more like a lotion consistency, but it definitely has a lotion-like feel to it, and it doesn't have as much of a lather, but it's very moisturizing. Sometimes I do it, I typically do not. Thank you, Luz. Thanks so much for watching and tuning into my videos. Okay, so I'm just trying to reach kind of a light to medium, light medium. I know, Carolyn, it's crazy how much you learn. There's a big learning curve with soap. How can you tell soap mix has reached trace? Chantal, okay, that's a great question as well. So trace refers to when you can lift up your blender or whatever you're using to mix with your soap, and you go like this, and you can drip the soap over the top and it leaves trace marks on top. I'll show you when I get there, but basically what that means is that your oils and your lye and your water have completely combined, and they're no longer separate materials, they're actually soap. So basically, you know when you've reached trace when you can drag your soap across the top and it leaves trace marks. A number 5 plastic, that's a great question as well. You have to make your soap in number 5 plastic because fresh soap can be very caustic. You're welcome, Holly. Coconut oil can give quick trace if you're using too much of it. Thank you, Eduardo. Okay, so back to the question regarding, oh my gosh, I just lost my train of thought. I was looking at the questions. Please chime back in if I was answering your question and I just lost your train of thought. My train of thought. Number 5, thank you. Fresh soap can be super caustic, and it can degrade plastics that aren't rated number 5. So what happens is if you're making soap in it, you can start to melt down or degrade your plastic, and then it gets into your product. Also, that's true for fragrance oils and essential oils. If they're not stored in glass or plastics rated number 5, it will break down your plastic, and then your plastic will get into your fragrance oil. So for soap making, it needs to be number 5. Okay, so I'm just getting my soap to a light to light medium trace, and it looks like we are there. So what that looks like, I'll try to get you close up here, is see how it's leaving, I don't know if you can see that, but you can actually see the trace. You can see it tracing. It's a light trace, but there it is. Hi, Christina. See how it's leaving streaks across? That's trace. I hope you all can see that. Okay, so then the next thing I'm gonna do, because I like a white base with my confetti soap, is I'm gonna go ahead and put in my titanium dioxide dispersed in water. So for a 5-pound batch here, I have about 3 tablespoons of titanium dioxide in a scant amount of water, so just enough to cover and mix. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and put that in. And then while I'm here, I'm gonna go ahead and also put in my fragrance oil. I'm using Yay for Yummy by Nature's Garden, and this fragrance oil is awesome. It's really strong. It sticks in the cold processed soap, and it is smelling like strawberries, raspberries, cherries, tree ripe peaches, fresh lemons, and essential oils of tangerine. So this smells really good. This is a Lush duplicate, and I can't remember what Lush calls it, but it's something similar. And to me, it smells just like it when I've smelled the Lush dupe. Now I know exactly what's in here, so don't freak out that I'm not measuring it out. This is half of a 8-ounce container, so I'm putting in a little over 5% for a 5-pound batch. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and add in our fragrance. You're welcome, Denise. I'm glad it's been helpful. Roxy, there's my dog. Get on out of here, girl. Go on. She loves to come in and make a cameo all the time. And we have another golden retriever who's much more shy, named Ruby, who never comes in when I'm making soap because she's very much more well behaved. You're welcome, Soapy Cupcakes. Actually, you know what? I try to give people information about things that have actually happened to me so that you don't make the same mistakes. And trust me, I think I've made them all in the beginning. So I love sharing that information with people just so that you guys don't all make the same mistake I did. And you live and learn, of course. Everything is a learning experience, but I gotta tell you, I like to share information so you don't all make the same mistakes. Okay, so here is, we're sitting at about, getting closer to kind of a medium trace. You can see it's getting thicker. So this is where I like to stop. Titanium dioxide will speed up trace a little bit, especially if you're using a lot of it. And now I'm gonna go ahead and start dumping in my confetti. I'm just gonna take handfuls and I'm gonna start stirring it in by hand until I feel like I've had enough. It does take a lot of soap. I mean, it does take a lot of confetti, I find. See, we could definitely use more here. And then I save any of the other scraps. It kind of does look like candy, doesn't it? Kind of looks like, I don't know, some sort of unicorn cotton candy or something. Okay, and then I like to reserve a little bit of confetti for the top of the soap. So I'm gonna keep what's left in there aside. We're gonna give this a good stir. And we don't put the stick blender in. Does the scent of the confetti pieces change the scent of the soap? Thank you, Amber. And Carolyn, no. So these, once you put in your new fragrance oil, especially if you're using a stronger fragrance oil, it just masks the fragrance that's already sticking to the flakes completely. You don't even ever smell it. That was a great question. I actually was wondering that a while back when I first made my first confetti soap. I was like, I wonder if I'm gonna start smelling the other soap through, and you don't. It just completely absorbs the new fragrance. Okay, we're looking ready to pour. That's how quick and easy it is. I'm thinking I'm probably gonna cut, I hope I have time tomorrow to cut this for you live because it just has the best cut look. It just looks so good. Okay, here's my 5-pound loaf mold. This is from Brambleberry. I buy them with a silicone liner because I hate to line my molds with wax paper. I'm no good at it. And how long does it take soap to set up? Kimberly asked before you should package it for sale. I let my soap set up for a minimum of 4 weeks before I package it to sell it. I just like to get all the, I like to make sure all the moisture has evaporated from the soap before I wrap it, because I do use a shrink wrap material and it will get baggy. The shrink wrap will turn baggy after a while if it has more evaporation left to it. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and pour this in, and you can see we're kind of sitting at a thicker medium trace now. Oh, that's the other thing. If you don't size your batch down when you're making confetti soap, like I don't, you're gonna get extra soap, which is awesome because we like to use the confetti soap in our house and give it away for samples. Let me see if I can bring you in a little bit closer. There we go. Okay. I'm gonna put a little bit more on top here, and then I'll show you what I'm gonna do. Just a little. And then I'll put the rest of this in a silicone mold. In a, probably like a 2-pound. Sorry for the banging. Okay. And as you can see, the soap is going to be real white on the background with those nice confetti speckles coming through. Okay, so while this is looking like this, I take my top. That's a good question about the ratio of confetti. So you can see I have about 1/4 of what I had left. And that was 4 bars of soap I used. I have about 1/4 left to a 5-pound batch. So what I like to do is just kind of top the rest of my soap. I just kind of go by what it looks like when I'm mixing it. I like a lot of confetti in there. I missed that question, sorry. Someone was asking about cure time for smaller soap pieces. Constance, that's funny. You should give it a try. You might actually find it easier than you think. It does have a big learning curve. You do have to know, you have to have some base knowledge, and you have to practice. You know, certainly my first soaps did not look like this. I do not have educational classes, Denise, but you are not the first person to ask me that. I get that question a lot if I have online classes. Maybe that will be my next venture, who knows. Okay, but in my Patreon recipes, when I post them, I do post detailed written tutorials with every recipe. So I find that to be helpful. And then you can always go back to my videos if you get the recipe and get, you know, kind of a hands-on demo, if you will. Okay, so I just top it with the confetti, and I just have about that much left over. So yeah, I use pretty much all of it. Okay, so then the last thing I'm gonna do is take some glitter. I sprinkle the top of this with glitter. And voila. I'm gonna take my 99% rubbing alcohol. Actually, mine is only 91% sitting on the table. Hold on real quick. And I like to spray down my soap. It does look so cool when it's cut. I just love the way it looks. Okay. We're just spraying this down to get everything to kind of stick, and we're doing this to prevent soda ash. Even though the soap is white, it probably won't matter if it gets soda ash. Okay, and that, I'll give you a close-up. That is how my confetti soap looks. And again, simple, effective. You're welcome, Queen V. Yeah, Dreamer's Homestead. You just gotta bite the bullet and try a plain, non-scented soap. Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you, Mrs. LC. Bubblegum soap sounds awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Denise. Thank you guys so much. I'm here to answer any more questions for a minute or so. If you have anything else that's you know, something that you've been wanting to know. Thank you, you guys. Thank you. I'm really hoping I can cut this live, because the cut bar really, I mean, the wet soap looks nice, but the cut bar really is really awesome to see. It is really such a simple soap. You're welcome, Chantal. I'm gonna come back up here. Yeah, sensitive soap, homemade soap is much better for sensitive soap. Thank you so much, everybody. Yeah, it's a fun one to make, and it goes quickly. You're welcome, Soapy Cupcakes. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, everybody. I look forward to, oh, thank you, Jeanette. I look forward to hopefully cutting this for you live tomorrow so you can see what it looks like on the inside. And I hope everybody has a great rest of your night. It's just awesome that everybody can come in and join me at the end of a long, busy day. Tomorrow, same time for the cut, probably close to 7:45 or 8 o'clock tomorrow for the cut. We'll see, hopefully. Don't worry if you missed it. If you missed I'll keep this posted. I'm not gonna delete it, so you can go back and watch. Thank you guys. Mwah, 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 mwah. Good night. Talk to you later.